Hello. I wanted to give my first ride impressions this morning on my Specialized Crosstrail 2017 Sport. This is a hybrid performance bike, also called a dual sport, and it's a road bike with a front shock on it, and and some tires that are a little more trail friendly than your typical road bike hybrid. I bought this bike because my rides usually entail several miles on the street, which also include some light single track, and dirt roads as well. So I kind of wanted a bike I could do everything on. Previously, I've been doing all of this just on a mountain bike, and even though it was great on the trails, it was a little tough just on the roads. So I thought I would purchase one of these. I did tons of research, and really, for those of you looking, the major brands, Specialized and Trek and Giant, they all have their versions, which I think are all, very much alike, and probably all fine. It just kind of depends on which best suits your riding style and body type. So certainly test ride all of them that you can and see just which fits best. This Specialized really fit me well, which is why I pulled the trigger on this bike as opposed to the Trek or the Giant. And even the Diamondback and the Fuji I looked at as well. Again, all similar components. But anyway, I'm about to take this out right now. I'm gonna go, this is my normal track that I do. It's a few miles on road, and then I end up on a single track and also a dirt road for 3 or 4 miles before I come back down this street here and end up back in this exact same place. So I'll let you know how it feels, how it rides, and if you feel this might be an option for you. So okay, off I go. Okay, I'm back from the ride, and I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna give you the good and the bad. I'll start with the good first. I thought it handled excellently on the trails. It was light, agile. I couldn't tell any slippage on the tires going over terrain. I went through some sand. It felt good and stable. So I really enjoyed how it felt off-road, especially for my needs, which aren't drastic. I'm a little more advanced than just fire roads, but not much. So the single track action I do is relatively tame compared to to other riders that I see out there that are really doing some really fast technical trails. So on that note, I liked it. Now here's the twist. Here's where the drama comes into play in this. This is really crazy. I feel like I'm going to wake up from this dream here in a minute. I did not test drive the Sport Edition, which is what this is. I test drove the base model, which is the Specialized Crosstrail base. Then there's the Crosstrail disc, and then there's the Sport. And then a couple, above that. So when I drove the base model, I drove it because that's all they had at the store, but I wanted to get a feel of the bike, and I figured it didn't make any difference. It was a base model just to get a feel for the bike and, how my body, fit on it and how it felt to ride it. And I loved it. And you know what? It rode just like this one. Perfect. However, after I finished the first part of the video, I start to go down the street, and I'm trying to change into the third sprocket because I was about to go up a hill, and I became aware that there wasn't a third sprocket in the front. There's only 2. Now granted, it's got 9 gears in the back, which is nice for some nice range, but this makes this an 18 speed instead of a 27 speed. And the drawback to that is that when you go up hills, you don't really have that granny gear that you have when you have 3 sprockets. And a big reason for me buying this bike is I live in a very hilly area. I was climbing all these hills on my mountain bike, thinking to myself, why am I killing myself going up these hills on my mountain bike when I could just go buy a hybrid road bike and make this a little bit easier? And somehow I happened to pick the one bike out of the billion that I researched that has 2 sprockets and not 3. Why in the world the base model of this bike and the next one up, the disc model, why did they have 3 sprockets? And this bike, which is the one above those 2, has 2. Is it simply a weight thing? Did they leave it off just for that extra tiny bit of weight and sacrifice the range of the gearing? Never even occurred to me that this would have 2 sprockets and not 3. So anyway, I mean, you know, I couldn't wait to wake up this morning. I bought this bike yesterday. I couldn't wait to get up this morning and come out here and just feel how it just slices through these hills. Okay? And most of the reason I even recorded this to make this tape was because I was just going to be bragging so much on my new toy and how much I loved it. So it almost feels like a Monday now because of this. So anyway, I think I'm gonna, have to make a phone call when I get home because I think this is probably a deal breaker. And I am shocked in all the reviews I read on this bike, it was not clear to me that this was a 2 sprocket. Never even heard of a two sprocket on a bike in this price range. Okay, that is it. Thanks for listening.